Hello amigos, ¿cómo están? My name is Dan and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking all about Chivas in the Mexican national team. Obviously there's no Chivas games now for another week or so. And then Mexico playing a couple of games, obviously for preparation for the World Cup. Aguirre is obviously trying the fringe players, trying extra players, trying to beef up his squad a little bit. Yeah, we'll go straight into it, guys. Obviously the first game was against Panama. The second game is against Bolivia. That's tomorrow. We'll talk about the Panama game now because obviously I wasn't going to do too much videos on Mexico really. I've kind of gone off that a little bit. I've been more focused on Chivas and Arsenal over the last couple of years. But there's monumental change going on in the Mexican national team, and a part of that is obviously the amount of Chivas players in around the squad now. Six Chivas players started for Mexico against Panama, and we're going to talk about all of them now. Obviously, Talavangel. Obviously, I think Malagon, if he's a lucky boy, he'll probably be the Mexican #1 goalkeeper in the World Cup. But I think Tala's going to get chances. I think he's going to get game times. And if anything happens to Malagon, Tala's the one that's going to obviously be the one that replaces him. So, somewhat standard. You've got one, obviously, Mexico won 1-0. I don't know if you didn't know that already. I'm pretty sure everyone knows that by now. And yeah, clean sheet for Talavera, which is great. Obviously, Panama. People saying it's Panama's C team or whatever. I don't really subscribe to A, B, C teams in the national teams. You got your national team and that's it. But I don't know enough about Panamanian players to know whether they were good or not. But a clean sheet's a clean sheet, and I think he had a decent game. I don't think there was anything to complain about. The big ones obviously was Richard Ledesma and Brian Gutierrez getting their debuts, which is awesome. Obviously, Ledesma's now made the official one-time switch from the USA to Mexico, which is absolutely amazing. They've both been killing it for Chivas, sorry. Especially Ledesma. Ledesma's had an amazing tournament last tournament, and he's kicked off this tournament really well as well. Absolutely deserved to be called up. Deserved to start, in my opinion. That right wing back spot is up for grabs. Julian Araujo, is re-establishing himself now in the Scottish League. Obviously, couldn't quite handle it in the Premier League with Bournemouth. Bournemouth doing really well, by the way. They just smashed Liverpool last night. But yeah, Araujo and Huesca, who is obviously Huescas, who's the other right winger. They're both somewhat injury prone. They've both been riddled with injuries. Obviously, Huescas is a little bit more unfortunate. I feel like once he's back with Copenhagen, I think he'll do really well with them again. But yeah, I feel like with those injury issues, with their unreliability, I want to say, with respect to both of them, I think if they're both fighting fit and going, and if I think more in the case if Araujo was still at Bournemouth, I think that they would be the nail on the two right wing backs for Mexico. But that squad, that position is up for grabs in my opinion. I think Ledesma is the best right back in the league at the moment. I think that still counts for something. People still dismiss the Liga MX and the players that play there, so they play in Europe. But I feel like Ledesma's well within his rights to really fight for that spot. I think he had a really good game. I think he was Mexico's best player, in fact, which tells you everything you need to know about this game. Cotoro, Brian Gonzalez on the left back side, again, I would say the best left back in the league right now, and doing really well with Chivas. Absolutely came in replacing Mateo Chavez, who is killing it over there in AZ Alkmaar at the moment in the Eredivisie. Almost kind of established himself now as their starting left back, but not quite. But he's doing really well. When he left, you're thinking, oh my god, left back's going to be a major issue for us. But if anything, Couture has come in and done brilliantly, and he's done even better, in my opinion, than Chavez. So, again, another player that fully deserves to be in the squad. Deserved to start this game. I think he had another good game as well. Obviously, Brian Gutierrez, who we talked about just a minute ago, I think he's doing really well for Chivas right now. It's still too early for him to tell really if he's going to be a success at Chivas or not. Kate Cow had his moments when he was good for us, so I'm taking a little bit more time with Gutierrez. He's done everything brilliantly so far. I mean, 3 or 4 games into the season, he's done brilliantly. And again, it's something that I think the Mexican national team are doing now. Well, Chivas are doing. Chivas have really stepped into the Mexican American market, bypassing all this stupidity in Liga MX. teams obviously overcharging Chivas and overpaying the odds. We're selling players now. We're letting players go. Um, and we're bringing in cheaper options. And obviously, at the moment, we're bringing a lot of kids in for the Tapatio team. So it remains to be seen if it's a good direction. But the Mexican American players that we've got right now are doing brilliantly. Ledesma and Brian Gutierrez are the absolute pinnacle of that. And then obviously the other two are Luis Romo and Piojo. Romo's doing brilliantly for us right now, Chivas. I think he deserved the call up. People automatically dismiss him as washed or whatever. If you think he's washed, you haven't been watching any Chivas games this season. Granted, this Mexican national team is not Chivas right now. Milito, you would have to say, is not Aguirre. Aguirre is getting a lot of stick, and I'll talk about him in a minute. But Piojo in particular, did he deserve to be called up? He's not been Chivas' best player. He's not been in the top 5 of Chivas' best players over the last, I would say, calendar year. He had a poor season last season. I think he got like 3 or 4 goals, and that was about it. He's got a goal already this season, which is cool. But he needs to step up his stature. Once Pulido goes, once Gutierrez goes, I think Piojo will be the next one there, but I think Milito looks at it and goes, you know what, high wages, he doesn't have the output to warrant that. I think Piojo needs to step it up, or come the summer, I think Piojo needs to be a little bit worried about his position in the club, especially if we're still bringing in Cambreros and Yao Padilla as well. Padilla scored the other day as well, which is great. So they're the other two. I mean, Romo, like I said, I think he deserved a call up. I think he's, the midfield area is a little bit of a problematic area for Mexico right now, and I think Romo deserved the call up, and I think he deserved to play. I think he gets an unnecessary stick. Piojo is a little bit more justified. He's not Chivas' best player at the moment, so you think, well, should he have got called up? I think wingers, wide attacking players is a little bit of an issue for Mexico as well, so I can understand them bringing in Piojo and trying him out. I don't think he should have started this game. But yeah, Roma, I think he deserves to be called up. I think he deserves to play. I think he deserves to be in the squad. Does he start for Mexico? Is he one of Mexico's best midfielders? No, he's not. But I think he deserves to be in the actual squad, being on the bench of the World Cup. I think that's more than justified. The other two players obviously on the bench were Angel Sepulveda and Hormiga. I think Hormiga should have started this game. Berterame started, and I think that was purely down to the hype of him playing for Inter Miami now. He's left Rayados and gone there to play with Messi. Cool. It's a big deal for Rayados. I think they got like 15 million for him, so that's cool. There was slightly funny talks about them spending like 15 million on buying Hormiga. I mean, Hormiga's obviously got that clause where it's, I think it's 18 million for Liga MX clubs and 15 million for European clubs. But yeah, Hormiga's going nowhere this season. Already started off the season with a couple of goals brilliantly. And I think he should have started this game. I think it would have been really cool to have Hormiga play in this game, but it is what it is. He came off the bench, did alright, but he was heavily involved in the goal. I think it ends up being an official own goal, but he was heavily involved in it, which is cool. It's 8 players in the Mexico squad, and I think that's a sign for things to come, to be honest with you. Aguirre getting a lot of stick online, people complaining, oh, you should be beating Panama C team 5-0, blah 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 blah. Look, this is what you call a transitional period. Ledesma, Gutierrez, Hormiga, Mora, Obed Vargas, they're all players that are going to be bringing into the squad. That's part of the transitional period. You want players like Charlie Rodriguez to be phased out. You kind of want players like Piojo to be phased out. Maybe even Romo if, better midfielders start popping up. That's what happens. This is what happens when you have a transitional period. This is what happens when, you play players that are super young, super inexperienced, and obviously players for the first time. And we had a couple of debuts in this game in regards to Richie and Brian Gutierrez. So this is what you get in transitional periods. This is what you get for preparation games. If you're going to be hosting a World Cup, then you've got a load of friendlies to play fringe players. You need to beef up your squad a little bit. Aguirre knows his best 11. Maybe Malagon and Tala is a little bit of an argument, but most of all, I think he understands who his best 11 is. Obviously, well, Jimenez and Santi Jimenez play instead of Hormiga, but having that third option on the bench is good. But you have to play them. They have to be bedded into the national team. They have to start playing with their national team colleagues on a regular basis before the World Cup starts. Um, you're not going to be annihilating every game. You shouldn't be annihilating every game. You should be playing players that are fringe players, that you are kind of unknowns, and get them embedded in. Albert Vargas is a quality player. More, I think, probably would have played this game if he'd been fit. Um, this is a transitional period. This is the period where I think every real Mexico fan has been calling out for the last 3 or 4 years. Bringing in these younger players, phasing out some of the older players. Once the World Cup done, I think Jimenez will be done. I think Malagon will be done. I think a lot of other players will be done. And all these other players, Robert Vargas, Richie Ledesma, all the players that I've mentioned already in this video will be brought in. And they should be in and around the squad. You need to beef up that squad. You need to have a decent bench. And to do that, you need to play players. You can't just bring Hormiga in for the first time and so here you go, Hormiga. You've not played for the Mexico national team at all, but here you go. You're on the bench for South Africa in the World Cup. Well done. Let's go. By the way, score some goals. Otherwise, people are going to start ripping into you. This is what it is, and to be all doom and gloom about beating Panama 1-0. Like it's a training session is what it is. It's not a competitive game. It's not an important game. The only importance is that you're playing players that need the minutes for the national team. Need to get to know their other players that they don't play with their clubs. And this is what happens. To go overboard with it, I mean, it is what it is. I expect a little bit more of an established first team for Bolivia game, and then obviously in February it's going to be Iceland and Belgium. I think there's going to be a couple more. I think there's talks of Germany. I can't remember, in March or whatever. But that's not officially announced yet. But in regards to Chivas, this is the new normal now. I think Ledesma, I think, is going to be in the squad for the foreseeable future. So is Coutinho. I think the left back spot is up for grabs as well. I think Mateo Chavez he should be the future of the left back spot, but I think Coutinho could challenge him. And everyone else that plays left back for Mexico needs to be phased out, in my opinion. So, yeah, and then obviously Romo's probably has a limited time with the national team. I think Piojo as well is going to get phased out, but Hormiga, Ledesma, Toro, there's a couple of players that haven't been called up. Like, for me, Castillo. How Castillo is not involved in this squad is a travesty, in my opinion. I think he should be at least involved in this team. The centre-back position is a massive issue. For me, the biggest issue for the national team is the centre-back position. I feel like once the current top centre-backs get phased out, who's going to take over? I think Castillo's absolutely got to be involved. I expect him to be involved in next month's friendlies. And Efrain Alvarez. Why couldn't he have come in? Why couldn't he have come in to replace Mora? I think Efrain Alvarez has done really well for Chivas right now. The goals and assists could be a little bit higher, especially the goals. For me, he doesn't score enough. I think he assists quite a decent amount, but needs to score more. But he absolutely deserves to be in this team. And if he does, if they both get in, then you have to look at the amount of Mexican Americans in the national team now. I think that's what that's definitely the direction Chivas are taking. Chivas are bypassing, the toxic, expensive Liga MX market and just gone into America and said, look, if you've got a Mexican blood, Mexican passport, you're absolutely eligible to play for Chivas. And we're doing alright with it at the moment. And we're developing some really good youngsters as well on the Tapatio team. Garcia, the new kid Garcia as well, to name one. This is the new normal now. I think this is what we're going to start seeing now. And people try to ban out, Chivas didn't beat Panama, blah, blah, blah. Well, Bertarame didn't do well either. There's a load of other players. Albert Vargas, I think, had a decent game, but no one else really helped. But it's encouraging signs. I feel like it's the first real sign of, apart from being top of the league right now, is just the direction, the positive step that Chivas have taken over the last year or two. Milito's revolutionised this club and he deserves a trophy now. We just got to go out there and get it. But we're doing brilliant right now. Making a lot of good decisions, getting rid of the players that we need to get rid of, getting in players that are an upgrade to what we've got, except for Tapatio. Tapatio are struggling a little bit at the moment, so getting getting them a couple of more decent players into the team is no bad thing. So, yeah, brilliant so far. I'm curious to see what's going to happen with the Bolivia game. I'm hoping there's going to be another few Chivas players in that team. But yeah, I'm really happy about it. 6 players in the starting lineup is absolutely crazy. You know, go back a few years, there was no Chivas players in the national team apart from maybe Piojo. So yeah, we're doing alright right now, and we're just in the which shows you we're on the right track in regards to Chivas and the club and the players, and long may that continue. Hopefully, we'll start seeing Padilla and Cabreros and other players like that can show up and do something in the national team for the senior team anyway. But yeah, anyway, guys, let me know what you thought about the game. The game itself is a bit meh, if I'm being brutally honest, but people are overblowing it. Like I said, it's a training session, and Maguire's getting a lot of stick. You know, Maguire's playing, we're not scoring enough, blah blah blah, drawing so many games, we lost against Colombia, blah blah blah. Okay, but he's overseeing the transitional period. He's a transitional coach. He's deciding that he's bringing all these young players in, all these players that wouldn't necessarily get a chance in the national team to try and improve it. It'll be Rafa Marquez, or whoever takes over for him after the World Cup, that will have an established, decent under 23 team that he can build the national team around for the next 5 years or whatever. But Aguirre is a little bit of a pickle at the moment. He's trying to get results in a team that he's trying to bring in new players and phase out old players, and it's always a bit of a difficult thing to do in the national team. And keep the consistency, and he's won a couple of trophies now. I think he's proven himself decent enough to play in knockout tournaments. He just needs to get his squad sorted, get his wider squad sorted, get his bench sorted, and then go to the World Cup and hopefully go for it. But anyway, guys, let me know what you think about the team, the players, and what you think Chivas could do going forward. Because I think it's an exciting time to be a Chivas fan right now. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I really do appreciate it. I will be back next week to do a video for the next Chivas game. I think it's San Luis, if memory serves. We'll have to. I'm looking forward to that. Obviously, Luis beat America recently, so it's going to be a tough game. I think we've got Mazatlan after that, and then the America game. So busy February, but I'm keen for it. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. We do appreciate it. Like, subscribe, and I'll talk to you in the comments. Have a good weekend. Adios.